Today, I'm going to discuss the 3 things that people need to develop their personal power. And no, it's not going to be one of these sort of feel-good, self-help type of talks. Which means, basically, I'm saying that so if it is one of those, you're constantly going to tell yourself it's not. So I'm already trying to manipulate you guys, to be honest. But power, personal power, what is it as I define it? Because terms are important. If you think it's something different than what I think, then how I said to get it is almost irrelevant. So in life, from day to day, there are things we can control and things we cannot control. It's a very stoic type perspective to focus on those things you can control, and for the most part, ignore those things you cannot. I agree with that. We tend to be able to control more over time, right? So we also have to be open to the evolution of what we're able to control. Because when things start going well, you start doing the right thing, you build a little momentum, it turns out you're capable of more as time goes on. So that needs to be accommodated, right? To some extent. So personal power is that relationship. It's developing your ability to control those things that you can control. It's never a testament to controlling those things you cannot, because by definition, you cannot control them, right? You don't want to be the guy or the girl who it's raining outside and your whole state changes because it's raining. You have no control whether it's raining or not. So whether it's raining or not should not control how you feel about that day. It just happens to be a day that's raining. You did not have a seat in the table when it was being decided of what the weather was going to be like. So it kind of makes sense that you should not allow your outlook on life to be determined by those things. Follow me so far? Yeah? All right. So the 3 things, if I had to reduce it to 3 things to develop your personal power. Number 1, we have to do powerful things. Now, what are powerful things? Powerful things are the things that are in your control that are pressurized. The things that are in your control but may be uncomfortable. We just happen to train in a martial arts academy. So the majority of people here have at least experienced one time coming in here training and getting your butt kicked. And it wasn't comfortable. It probably wasn't fun. But you still did it because it was in your control and you knew it was going to add to your ability to control what was in your control. It was going to add to your personal power. So the first thing we need to do is we need to be able to do powerful things. The second thing, we need to be able to follow powerful people. Anybody that you look up to in any discipline that you are pursuing, if you look up to them as a model, that means at least one thing that they figured out what you're trying to figure out. You've all heard the phrase, don't reinvent the wheel. But here you have people who have done what you're trying to do, and so many of us do not want to follow their lead. Sometimes you got to make a new way, but sometimes you need a map. And the map is just an understanding of all the ways that were made before you. So the second thing you have to do is you have to learn how to follow powerful people. People who have developed the things that you are trying to develop yourself. Because the formulas are already there. Don't reinvent the wheel. Now the third thing, and this is the thing, this is the doozy. The third thing is the thing that I have had the most difficulty, admittedly, training people in. The first thing we said, you have to do powerful things. Second thing, you got to follow powerful people. The third thing, you have to be able to have powerful conversations. Powerful conversations. There's a bit of old wisdom that says you should have friendship within, because you never know how you stand in the hearts of other people. You should be your own friend, because you don't know where you stand inside the hearts of other people. And it lends itself, that outlook lends itself to the ability to be able to have a conversation with somebody that could be pressurized, that could be uncomfortable. without getting offended. Because that's the real culprit today, right? Getting offended. I can't believe he said that to me. Right? So, I got thrown out of the dormitories in college. One of the reasons I got thrown out of the dormitory in college is because some kid that I was probably bullying, to be honest, not on purpose, but that was probably the dynamic, he called me a spick. And I punched him in his face. And I created enough damage that it left a mark. And it began a whole process that wound up with me being thrown out of the dormitories. Now, if I understood why and how he was saying what he was saying, I would understand that he's doing the best he could. I would understand that he knows he probably couldn't do anything physically to me. I understand that he was affected by what was happening prior. So he said that because he was basically trying to let out that negative energy that he had based on what I must have been doing to him prior to that. I would understand why he's doing what he was doing, just like I understand when my dog poops on the floor. It's like, no, what are you doing? I'm a dog. You should have walked me. I can't be angry at the dog for doing what dogs do. But here it was, that guy called me that name, and I saw it as a way to react. How dare he? How dare he say that? Now, looking back, obviously, hindsight's 2020, being that as it is, it's easy now to say, well, yeah, he was scared, he was intimidated, he knew he physically couldn't do anything to me. I probably shouldn't have been doing what I was doing in the first place to make him feel that way. I was at college, after all, right? Supposed to be becoming smarter, right? Or more educated, at least. But I reacted in a way that made me feel better. Why did I need to react in a way that made me feel better? Because he said something that made me feel a certain way. When people say things and it makes us feel a certain way, what do we call that? You remember?
Magic?
That's right. Magic. If you want to believe in magic, start allowing people to say something and have it change something inside of you. Because that's how magic works, right? They say the magic spell and you're controlled. He called me a spick. He turned me into a complete piece of garbage. I went and I go and hit this guy. I still think I'm right. I got picked up by campus security. And they said, why did you hit him? Why do you think I told him that I hit him? Because he called me a spick. Because in my mind, it was okay. Because I was so caught up in the emotion that magic word had on me that I wasn't able to see it was just a word. I wasn't able to see why he said what he said. So when I say the third part of becoming powerful is being able to have a powerful conversation, you got to understand, nobody can make you feel a certain way. You are the one that gives them permission. You are the one that initiates that feeling inside of you. If you want to have a powerful conversation, understand it's the only way that you can get the information to keep getting stronger. That's why it's so important. You're going to try and do the powerful things. You're going to try and follow the powerful people. But there are times where you're going to be lost and you need to sort of find out where you are. Imagine you were lost in a city somewhere in the middle of nowhere. Right? You don't speak the language. You don't know where you are. And you see somebody that looks like they might speak English. And you go up to them. And you don't know where you are. Let's say you have no money. You're starting to panic. You're starting to freak out. You don't know how to get to your hotel. Right? Hotel safe. And you see somebody that looks like they speak English. You go up to them. Excuse me. Do you speak English? I'm lost. I'm trying to find my hotel. And he goes, what do you want, asshole? Are you going to go, you're an asshole. You're going to go, as soon as he says, what do you want, asshole? You're going to go, do you know where my hotel is? Because the amount of focus you have at that point is going to transcend any of the magic in that word that he was using on you. Maybe he didn't even know what he was saying. He just got his English mixed up. We don't, who cares? I'm on mission at that point. I'm trying to figure out how to become more powerful. So how people try to affect me emotionally is always going to be a distraction. So again, the three things to become more powerful, to have more control over the things that are controllable. Number one, you have to do powerful things. It's not about being safe. Right? It's not about being safe. The old saying is, ships are safest in the harbor, but that's not why ships are made. So you got to do powerful things. Number two, you have to listen to powerful people. There are people who have already done the things you are trying to do. You have to have the ability to seek them out and follow their guidance. You can't disqualify somebody who has figured out what you want to do because there's something else about him that you don't like. Yeah, he's a different person. At some point, he's going to have different preferences than you. That's what's involved with being another person. The third thing, we have to have powerful conversations. We have to be able to seek out information and knowledge in environments that may be, if we were lesser people, offensive. You can't offend me. Remember, I'm going to be 45 next month. And I remember when I was a kid, those of you around my age or older, sticks and stones will break my bones, but names will never hurt me. That used to be something we would recite in like kindergarten. Now it's sticks and stones will break my bones, but names will get me a lawsuit. They remixed it. And it's weak. And it's weakness. When I say weakness, when I say somebody's being weak, people are just looking to find a reason to get offensive. A lot of times I go right to the word that I know is going to trigger people, right? Because you have people in society now that aren't trying to get stronger. They're trying to define their strength by how successfully they are taking other people's strength away. I remember growing up, you'd have the girls on the block that are playing double dutch, and they get ready to jump in between the ropes. Like, these are people looking to get offended in society. They're looking for somebody to say something that they can go, hey, you can't say that. I'm offended. As if they've actually accomplished something. But the master mindset, the person who's being powerful, who's trying to be as powerful as he can be, he doesn't have any regard for those people. Because all they are distractions. Thanks for listening, guys.